Hello, everyone. Hope you are doing well. So here we have another text of reading comprehension question. So you find out the direction for the question is what? Answer the following questions based on the information given below. We'll go for the reading the text, and then after we will look at the question, and with the uses of the tricks, we will able to identify which of the option that will support to the author's question given here. Look at the text. What does the text point out? The text stated that recent discourse has scrutinized the integrity and motives of contemporary medical science and highlighting several pervasive concerns. A significant critic projects that the medical industry fabricates, um, or you can say that the kind of what do we say that artificial or rodents disease classifications ostensibly means to show you, or to show generate or to generate financial gain. It means called as only for the money or for the money. Others say that the benefits of most new drugs are minimal and typically exaggerated by clinical research, and that the harms of these drugs are extensive and typically underestimated by clinical research. Still, others point to problems with the research method themselves, arguing that those once seen as gold standards in clinical research, randomized trials, and meta analysis, are in fact malleable or called as influenced and um, harmful, as we understand it is stated mal, and have been bent to serve the interest of industry rather than patients. So the chief editor of the chief editor of the Lancet Medical Journal summarized these criticisms in 2015. So, afflicted by studies with some small sample sizes, tiny effects, invalid exploratory analysis, and flagrant conflicts of interest, together with an obsession for pursuing fashionable trends of dubious importance, science has taken a turn towards darkness. These problems arise because of a few structural features of medicine. A prominent one is the incentive. The pharmaceutical industry is extremely profitable, and the fantastic financial gains to be made from selling drugs create incentives to engage in some of the practices above. Another prominent feature of medicine is the another prominent, a prominent one, and another prominent one. So, feature of medicine is the hope and the expectation of patients that medicine can help them, supported with the training of physicians to actively intervene by screening, prescribing, referring, or cutting. Another feature is the wildly complex causal basis of many diseases, which hampers the effectiveness of interventions on those diseases. Taking antibiotics for simple bacterial infection of one thing, but taking antidepressants for depression is entirely different. In my book, Medical Nihilism, right, in the year of 2018, I brought all these arguments together. So all these arguments means the author stated that what uh, in his published book called as a Medical Nihilism 2018, he brought all these arguments, the arguments which he pointed above, together to conclude that the present state of medicine is indeed in disrepair. How? How should medicine face these problems? I coined the term gentle medicine to describe a number of changes that medicine could enact with the hope that they would go some way to mitigating or reducing those problems. Some aspects of gentle medicine could involve small modification to routine practice and present policy, while others could be more revisionary. Let's start with the clinical practice. Physicians could be less interventionist than they currently are. Of course, many physicians and surgeons are already conservative in their therapeutic approach, and my suggestion to that such therapeutic conservatism required to be what? More widespread or more present everywhere. Similarly, the hopes and expectations of patients should be carefully managed. Another aspect of gentle medicine is what? How the medical research agenda is determined. Most research resources in medicine belong to industry and it's a profit. So um, you can say that medicine's profit motive contributes to that obsession for pursuing fashionable trends of dubious importance. It would be great if we had more experimental antibiotics in the research pipeline, and it would be good to have high quality evidence about the effectiveness of various lifestyle factors in modulating or managing depression. For example, um, so similarly, it would be good to have a malaria vaccine and treatments for what are sometimes called neglected tropical diseases, and the disease burden of which is massive. The current corona pandemic has displayed how little we know about some very basic but immensely important questions. But there is no industry profit to be made pursuing this research program. Instead, great profit can be made by developing Me Too drugs, a new token of a class of drugs for which there already exist multiple tokens. Now, if you see that, um, the whole text makes a kind of some serious issues in medicine. So serious issues in medicine, or in, you can say that, modern medicine, right? So if you talk about that, the first thing is called the author posits what means a criticisms of medicine. So here he pointed that what, when he talk about criticisms of medicine, he exaggerated and pointed that what means how medicines are exaggerated and profited, right? Some people think that the medical industry makes up or makes up what? Makes up or expands disease category to make more money, to make more money, more money, isn't it? So they also believe that the benefits of new drugs are often, you can say that, overstated, while their risks are downplayed. So even you also point out the author stated about a couple of other things like research problems. There are concerned that the methods used to study drugs, like randomized trials, and you can talk about meta-analysis, meta-analysis are being manipulated to support the drug companies rather than helping patients, right? So there are also problems with medicines. So what kind of a problem with the medicines? That's something called as a profit motive. Profit motive. So what kind of a profit motive you can point out here? That called as a drug. The author stated that uh, drug companies make a lot of money, which encourages practices that might not always be in the best interest of patients. So, and patient expectation. So patients expect medicine to help them, and doctors are trained to act on these expectations. Sometimes you would find out that what leading to unnecessary intervention. You also find out the complex diseases. So many diseases are very complicated, making it difficult to treat them effectively. And author also talk about nothing but gentle medicine. So when the author stated that gentle medicine, so he pointed uh, that less intervention. The author suggests that doctors should be less aggressive with treatments and manage patients' expectations more carefully. Better research focus. That is also the author suggested a kind of a solution. Research should focus on more on important but less profitable areas, like better antibiotics or treatment for diseases that affect many people but are not profitable, isn't it? So that's what is the text tries to point out. If I look at the passage, I can make it in a very short. short way by stating that what the passage critiques modern medicine, right? The passage critiques what modern medicines and stated that what focusing on how profit motives and flawed research or faulty research practices may lead to, you can say that exaggerated what? Exaggerated benefits of new drugs and poor patients' outcomes. The author is also talking about their book, which is called The Medical Nihilism in 2018, argues that these issues um, strengthen from structural problems in medicine, such as the profit driven nature of the pharmaceutical industry and the complex nature of many diseases. To address this problem, the author proposes, you can say that gentle medicine, right? Gentle medicine. And he pointed, which suggests reducing unnecessary medical interventions and redirecting research to areas that are important but less commercially lucrative or profitable, isn't it? So he gives example of malaria virus vaccine and other kind of a coronavirus pandemic, isn't it? So in that case, the main idea of the passage is that modern medicine is uh, faulty due to profit motives and ineffective research practices, and it proposes a more cautious and patient-centered approach to address these issues. Okay, so this is something called as the idea behind the passage in a very simple manner. Now, let's move at the man's tone and style of the passage. So, if I talk about the tone and style of the passage, so what I can find out, the tone of the text is critical in nature and concern. If you talk about that, critical and concerned also. So the author points out important problems in modern medicine and suggests changes to improve the system. If we talk about the style of the style of the text is nothing but analytical in nature and reflective also. Analytical and reflective. Okay. Now, let's move to the question. So the question stated, based on the two statements, I brought all these arguments together and I coined the term gentle medicine, isn't it? So where do we find out that? I brought all these arguments. So here the author stated here somewhere, yes. So you can see that I coined the term gentle medicines. Just a minute. Yeah. Now look into it. The author stated here, I coined the term gentle medicines and I brought all these arguments. I brought all these arguments together to conclude that the present state of medicine is indeed in disrepair. How should medicine face these problems? I coined the term gentle medicine to describe a number of changes that medicine could enact with the hope that they would go some way to reducing these problems, isn't it? So, what does it say? Means it say if this is to believe that the author is a self-proclaimed, right? So, which of the following argument illustrates the belief or disbelief the best? Look at the choices. The first choice stated the author's declaration of consolidating diverse critics into a single framework and introducing a novel term suggests a self attributing of originality and authority. Now, uh, if I look at the option one focuses on what? Focuses on, you can say that originality, right? And you can say that authority, originality and authority, right? Originality and authority. Mm, yeah. So it is stated about what? It is stated about originality and authority. So, but does not emphasize the pioneering aspect. The pioneering. Mhm. pioneering aspect, isn't it? So, uh, in that case, we cannot consider option one. It's uh, describing disbelief the best. So, look at the option two. In option two, it stated the authors emphasize on personal contribution, both in gathering arguments and in creating a new concept, indicates a sense of self importance in shaping the discourse on medical practices. Now, option two mentions self importance but does not directly link it to redefining the discourse, right? So, in that case, also option two cannot be taken as the best illustration to this belief. Third, it is stated by claiming to have synthesized various criticisms and coined a new term. The author implies a pioneering role which reinforces the notion or idea of being self proclaimed in redefining medical discourse. Now, in that case, question three is suitable here as it best captures the essence or the main idea of the author's self proclaimed nature. The claim of having synthesized um, various criticism and introduced a new term, right? Gentle medicine suggests that the author sees himself as a trailblazer, you can say that trailblazer, or you can say that leader in the field and mention it emphatically wherever he can in his writing piece. So this idea aligns what? This idea aligns well with the idea of being self-proclaimed. So hence, we can consider option three that best illustrate this belief the best, isn't it? Now look at the fourth. The fourth option stated the statements highlight the author's intention to be recognized as the leading voice in addressing the mistakes in contemporary medicine and supporting the view of this being self-proclaimed. Now, option four discusses what? Recognition or recognized, right? But the emphasis on what leader and redefine is not supporting the desired claim, right or not? Hence, we can say option four is also wrong. So option one, two, and four cannot be considered as the answer. So option three that best illustrate this belief, right? The best, isn't it? So that's what we draw from the text as well as the questions answer. Hope you understood this. That's all. Thank you.